Hey guys. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear the leaf blower, but they've kind of walked away now. I just had started filming it like literally right up to my front door here. Um, had to redo all this, so they've walked away. Hopefully you guys can hear this. So I've got written out here something I want to kind of talk about. It is written, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading. I just want to make sure I get this right. This is an important subject. So you all know me as McFly Angler. I post my experiences of fly fishing and flies on the internet on my channel here, McFly Angler, and I enjoy my channel. And sometimes on Sundays I post, actually every Sunday, I post a Bible verse because I don't know if you guys can hear that. They just keep walking right by my door. Anyway, I post on Sundays. I post Bible verses on Sundays. I decided I want to tell you my story because I believe it's really, really important, okay? Especially right now in our decisive culture. This is going to take a few minutes, guys, so I just want to let you know. So if you don't have a lot of time to actually sit and invest, I do think it's important. I think you should watch this. Maybe come back at another time and watch it when you have a moment. So I'm going to start my story from when I knew about it up until I was 21 years old. And yes, there's aspects of my life that I didn't really know until I was a young man, okay? And the reason why is I'm adopted. So I grew up in a really, really loving home. My parents who adopted me, my mom couldn't have children, so they really wanted a child. So they adopted me. My grandfather was a pastor, and he really was one of the finest men I've ever met. Really good guy. If you ever met him, I mean, he passed away now. He was 90-something, 97, I think, years old when he passed. He was a really good guy, okay? And the other was also a very wonderful, very creative guy. He did a lot of artwork, but also a very wonderful man. Both very Christian men, okay? So both very religious men. Both of them, I tried to kind of model my life after in ways, okay? Because they just were really good people. Also, my father, okay? My parents did what they felt was right, and they told me from when I could remember that I was adopted. See, I got the narrative that my birth mother was just too young and couldn't take care of me. My parents fell in love with me from the moment that they met me, at least I hear, and brought me home. See, I was one of the lucky ones. Many children grow up in homes where parents don't love them, sometimes despise them. In fact, I've got some friends where their parents it was a whoopsie, like, oh, I have to take care of this person, and took it out on them, and I was lucky enough that someone loved me. And that's kind of how I grew up feeling, is someone loved me, and, and I'm very grateful for that. Because not everyone grows up with a bunch of people that love them, right? And also, my birth mother gave me up for a better life. I mean, that's what I was told, and that's how I felt. See, I didn't feel like my birth mother gave me up to better herself. She wanted a better life for me than she could give. But I never got to meet her because it was a closed adoption. Once I got to an adolescent age, I obviously started asking questions. So after asking questions, I was handed a letter by my family. It was from my birth mother. In the letter, it described that she loved me, and she didn't want me to feel like she had given me up, because she didn't give me up. She actually kept me for 2 weeks. But she did what she thought was the right thing and tried to give me a better life. And that's exactly the narrative I was told, because my parents had read this letter and made sure that her wishes, that I knew that she wanted me, had, translated to me. She didn't want me to feel like I was rejected. She didn't want me to feel like she didn't want me. And she did. In fact, she tried, like I said, to keep me for 2 weeks. She couldn't provide for me in those 2 weeks, so she decided to do what she said, and I can imagine had to be, the hardest thing she's ever done, and that's give me up for adoption. I mean, I've got 2 children, and I would die fighting someone in order for them not to take my children, okay? I can't even express my gratitude towards that, and I can't even imagine how hard it must have been for her. But I started to wonder why She, I mean, by this time, I was well over a decade old, had been over a decade, and I was wondering why I hadn't met her. Why she didn't come to try to find me, and why I didn't, I mean, I thought, hey, why don't I go and try to find her? So I did, and turns out the adoption agency that kind of arranged this. That she went through and everything, had a strict policy of 18 years. That was it. It was 18 years. I had to be 18 years old in order for them to then allow either party to meet each other. So she couldn't meet me, I couldn't meet her. Anyway, I turned 18 finally. After talking with the agency, it took them a while to actually find her and get all the paperwork done and everything. There was some paperwork I had to sign. There was paperwork that my parents that adopted me had to sign. There was a whole bunch of stuff. And finally, I was able to send a letter. So I did. I sent a letter to the agency where they forwarded it to her. And then she was welcome to respond through the agency. Okay, and that was supposed to take place for a while. I think it was about 6 months or something. It was back and forth. And we sent lots of letters back and forth. I got pictures. In fact, I had a brother, which was great to find out. I had a baby brother, a younger brother, and a even younger sister. Finally, we got to talk on the phone after a little while. And instead of just, pictures exchanged and letters, it was, on the phone. My parents who adopted me supported this. I mean, they actually helped me find her. They helped me with the stuff. It's not like they felt, man, you want to. They knew that I wasn't gonna like get up and leave and move in with her. Of course, I say that they knew that. I mean, I guess as a parent, you never know. You always have your doubts, right? So again, good people. I am blessed. I'm lucky that I have had this situation because I will say probably not everyone does. Anyway, in many phone conversations, she finally, she told me, she was only 18 when she found out she was pregnant. She actually, after a couple of conversations, said that she had to say something, get something off her chest. She felt really bad about something, wanted to tell me. And she wanted me to know that, she wished that this never happened or whatever it may be. Okay. And I remember being like, well, fine, whatever, you say anything. So it turned out that she was 18 when she found out she was pregnant, and she told her mother and her parents, and her mother said, she was in college at the time. She just, she was young, and I guess my dad wasn't around, but her mom said, you can't be in this house and be pregnant. Go get rid of it. She was in college. She was living at home. She was only, I think, 18. So she went 3 times. She went down to the agency 3 times, and her mom escorted her and took her. Here, you got to go get rid of this thing. We can't have this in our house. What will the neighbors think, right? So she went with her mom, and all 3 times she couldn't go through with it. She said that it was something that she felt that she could not do. This was her baby inside of her, and she wanted to make sure that I survived. So she finally, after 3 times, told her mom, I'm going to keep the baby, and her mom kicked her out. So she went and lived with her aunt, had to quit school because it was far away from her school. She had to quit school for a while, college. Again, she sacrificed everything for me. And she felt so bad. I mean, for years, actually at that point, 19 years, I think. I was 19 years old by that time. A little over 19 years, she had held that. She hadn't been able to tell me that, and she felt so bad. But for me, see, she was afraid I was going to take this as in, you wanted to kill me. I didn't. And the reason why is it's legal. She could have easily went down there and done it. I mean, it's not like, it wasn't going to be difficult. In fact, she went 3 times. Her mom was trying to force her. And she made the decision not to. I'm still here because she decided to sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. It's not easy. I have children. I know. Children aren't easy. And I've got a wife. It was just her. She didn't even have family. Her mom got rid of her because of it, basically. So I mean, I didn't take it that way at all. I took it as you sacrificed everything for me. I mean, it would have been a lot easier for her. You know, she just took her mom's advice and just went down, had the abortion, stayed at home, finished college. Her life might be better. She wouldn't have had to deal with the 9 months of pain. It's hard, okay? And she could easily just, I don't want to deal with that. Instead, she dealt with the uncomfort, dealing with a big pregnant belly, all these things, and the pain of childbirth. I mean, just all of it for me. And she did keep me, like I had said earlier, for 2 weeks, I think it was, before she realized that she just couldn't give me the life that she knew I deserved, or she felt that I deserved, and wanted to give me up. See, she had one thing that she asked, that the family was a Christian family. See, she didn't know God up until I was in her belly. I think she probably knew of him. But when she moved in with her aunt, who was a Christian, her aunt took her in, helped her, and ended up ministering to her, and she became a Christian. She started following Jesus. So that was one thing, is she wanted a family that was a Christian. That was one of the things that she required in the things. That's what she wanted, and that's where I ended up. I ended up in a very strong Christian family home. Anyway, she has a decent life now, a good life. I mean, she had 2 other children she kept, and she's actually right now in China teaching on a teacher's visa. I don't know how all that works, but she's in China. And so we talk less now, but we do talk often, and we did for a while, very often. And so I talked to my siblings and everything, and so ended up working out. You know, maybe not right away, but over time it worked out. Even though it seemed probably like her life was crumbling at that moment. Honestly, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't thank God and her. In my head at least, you know, I thank her. And every time I talk to her, I try to thank her for what she did. I mean, it's a hard thing. And I'm very grateful. So, as you guys can imagine, I'm very pro-life. I'm against abortion. I don't believe abortion is a good thing. There's so many children that were not as lucky as me that haven't had the chance at life. And to me, I understand this one side of women's rights and them getting to do what they want with their body. I understand that. People don't realize how often it happens, but since the 70s, I mean, this right here, I mean, you can look it up. Looks like about 50 million abortions, roughly, maybe more, since the 70s, just in America. Hate to go political here, which I kind of already have. Hate to say it, even though it's a social issue, it has become political. But let's talk politics, okay? I'm not going to name a side here, but I am going to name what is important. See, for me, this is the number one issue. Number one, we could all be dirt poor. It doesn't matter to me, okay? It doesn't matter anything, really, except for that people live. Life is number one, right? What is the most important aspect of life is actually living. And so for me, elections are coming up in just a couple days here, guys, in America. Okay, so if you're watching from the rest of the world, I'm just talking to Americans right now. For the rest of the world, think about this in your elections and who you elect, or your political views. But right now we have one party that is openly anti-abortion. They're pro-life, and one party that is pro what they call choice, which they don't give the choice to the child, but pro-abortion. You got to realize, guys, in America, we've got multiple states that actually have no time limit. So literally, a woman could go in labor and say, I don't want to go through with this, and they kill the baby. There's a couple states that allow that. There's no limit, okay? Then there's a couple states that have it from 13 to 24 weeks. 24 weeks. Now, my wife is a NICU nurse, or was up until last year. She did for 14 years. She's had 23, 24 weekers live. See, if one party had their way, they would remove that from the state's control, and they would make it a federal thing. And they want to sweep down the board this forced legalization of abortion up until the moment that the baby is out of the womb. So this doesn't just have to do with the presidential election. It's also the House and the Senate. So make sure that you vote accordingly. Make sure you do your research before you go out and vote. Figure out who is for life, who is for giving life. That, to me, is the most important issue. There is no other. None. I mean, all the others are perks or drawbacks. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But it doesn't matter what drawbacks as long as you're choosing life. That's the most important. And here's the deal. I mean, so many people could end up like me with a good life. So many of these children could have. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to adopt children out there. In fact, thousands, hundreds of thousands that want to. And they can't. They can't find children to adopt because children are aborted first. Guys, if you find yourself in a whoopsie situation with a girlfriend, or maybe not, be a man, rise up, take control, and vow to take care of and support this woman in whatever decision she makes. You be there. You take care of it. Be a man. Don't run away. That's not being a man, to run away. Take responsibility. It's got to be hard if you're young. It's got to be crazy thinking about that, but do what you can. Life is more important. Now, I don't know why, like I said earlier, I don't know why I was given this this opportunity. This opportunity to be able to live, when very easily it could have been snatched from me. Very easily. But I'm grateful. I thank God, like I said, every day. And my birth mother. Every time I talk to her, I thank her for her sacrifice. I don't know why I'm here. Maybe because of my 2 children. Maybe. Maybe it's because of them. Maybe they're going to do something and change the world. Maybe I'm here for them. Because without me, they wouldn't be here. If any of you have done something in the past, ever had an abortion or anything like that, it's okay. I forgive you. We all make mistakes. Everyone I know has. We're not perfect. So don't feel like I'm coming down on you. I'm not. But from this point on, please look at it different. Okay? Well, guys, I love you all. I really do. And I'm sorry for this serious conversation. This is not my channel. I never do this. Okay? I never talk politically. I do talk about religion sometimes, I guess, in a way. I post Bible verses. Find they're inspirational. I like them. I've lost some subscribers to it. You know, it is what it is. But then vast majority of you love it. So I feel like the same thing's going to happen here with this conversation. I will see you guys on the next video. Now you guys go catch some fish. Okay, so I grew up in a very, very loving home. My mother and...
Cookie.
You want a cookie?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. What makes you think you deserve a cookie, my love?
Cookie.
Oh, come here. Does anyone feel like leaf blowers are kind of pointless and obnoxious? I don't know if you can hear that. Like, I just sat down to start filming, and of course they had to walk right by my door. We'll get to the video in a minute here.